Welcome to Brewed in Monmouth, the real estate tea with Kate and Doreen. We're here to talk homes, hometown gems, and real conversations with the entrepreneurs and locals who keep Monmouth County buzzing. I'm Kate, and as always,
I'm Doreen. Each week, we're bringing you the voices behind the businesses, the stories behind the sales, and the tea you need to hear. So grab your favorite drink, and let's get into it.
Hi there. Welcome to another episode of Brewed in Monmouth. Today we have Andy Krantz from Zager Fuchs here. We're so excited that Andy is our first return guest.
Wow. Yeah. I feel honored.
Right?
Wow.
That's great.
So cool. Try not to move around too much.
Well, welcome back. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yes,
Like
welcome
last
back.
time.
Welcome back. And again, we're thrilled to have you here to share some very interesting news. That's a big change in the
Real estate world?
real
Yeah.
estate world.
Try
yeah.
not to make it too dry, Andy.
I'll try not to make it too dry. I'll try not to make it dry. Okay, so you want me to start, tell you what's happening?
Tell us what's
All
happening.
right, so this is coming down the pike, and it's kind of scaring all the title companies, especially out there, because what's happening as of March 1st, any transfer to an LLC or a trust. So if a buyer is a LLC or a trust, and they're purchasing for cash, okay, they're not getting institutional financing. They're not getting money from a bank or like a big like a financial institution. Those transactions are now going to have to be reported to this agency called FINCEN, which is the Financial Crimes Network. What is it? Financial Crimes Network, and it's to fight money laundering and other things. So it's like an anti-money laundering law that's an agency that's been around since 1990, but and it's part of the Bank Secrecy Act, and so they have to now any of these transactions, those transactions, it's now going to be the obligation of the title company to do a whole reporting, and there's all this information that they have to gather on, people's names, addresses, their social security numbers. They're gonna possibly have to show source of funds, where those funds are coming from for those for those purchases that are for cash or for even private financing. So, I have clients who provide private financing for purchase of real estate. They may have somebody who's doing flipping of homes, and they're doing these short-term mortgages, and they're providing the financing for those. Those transactions are now going to have to be reported as well. So it's anywhere where it's an individual. It's not. It's if it's a LLC or entity like a corporation or trust. Those transactions are going to have to be reported to FinCEN.
That are cash, not if it's
Cash.
an LLC that's taking out a
Well,
traditional
right,
mortgage.
a traditional mortgage, right? So, which is rare. Most LLCs, unless and this is for residential transactions. So it's for 1 to 4 family homes, co-ops, vacant land where they're planning on building a home, and someone decides to just buy it for cash, and he's buying it in an LLC or a builder.
right.
Those transactions are now all going to have reporting obligations for the title company or whoever's doing the recording or settlement of the transaction. So it's going to be. I talked to someone from a title company the other day, and he told me that this is basically going to add over almost 3 hours of time that his people are now going to have to do for the back end, and it's going to end up being passed on to the consumer. More money, exactly. Once again, just like we had when we had the change in the graduated percentage fee, the mansion tax, when that went up to 3.5% over the summer. Now you have additional monies that our clients are going to have to pay. But it even we often have clients who will buy that'll buy in their names, and then they'll want to transfer it to an LLC because they're leasing the property. Okay, we've done that all the time, right?
Yes.
So, they're leasing the property and they want to transfer that from their individual name into an LLC.
Like 123 Main Street. Or
Right,
whatever it
exactly.
would be.
So they're doing that to just avoid having to, for the liability protection, so that if somebody slips and falls in the property or something like that, they're protecting their other assets. Well, those now, if they're transferring it from their individual name into an LLC, may have to be reported to FinCEN as well.
What about a revocable trust? Like if you move your property into revocable trust for like Medicare purposes or
Well, that's one. So there's exemptions. So one of the exemptions is it's an individual transferring to an LLC not an LLC but to a revocable trust or a trust where they're the grantor or they're the settler of the trust. That's an exemption.
Oh, good.
Okay, so like if you have to do transfers for divorce purposes, things like that, or if someone passes away, those are exempt from reporting. But unfortunately, let's say you have somebody who's just buying properties in LLCs and it just wants to buy for cash, and it's a 1 to 4 family or even a mixed use property. If there's residential component to it, those are now going to have to be reported as part of this new reporting obligation.
And that will be on the title company.
It'll fall on whoever's. So there's the whole list of who's responsible. But if it's the title company doing the settlement, then it falls on the settlement agent. But then let's say if I was doing it for a client who came in and wanted to transfer their property to an LLC, and I recorded that deed, I'd have to do it. And so basically, and I'm not going to be. I'd have to register, become a FINCEN approved reporting agent. And so there's this whole host of obligations.
Wow.
No, I'm now going to I'm going to transfer that over to the title company and let the clients know that this is going to be probably $400 or $500 more money for cost for transferring their property to protect their asset if that's what they want to do. So,
and this is national. It's federal.
Federal.
It's not
this is federal.
New Jersey.
Yep.
So this is
it's
everybody
not just New
everywhere.
Jersey. Everybody everywhere. And right now, so it was supposed to go into effect December 1st. It's now it got pushed off to March 1st.
Okay.
There's lawsuits still pending. So it may get delayed. Okay. A couple of years ago, they wanted to start doing this with corporations and LLCs. They wanted anyone who owned an LLC had to start listing their names and reporting that to FINCEN. And then right around when Trump got elected, they changed it from having all LLCs to just foreign-owned LLCs. So that's really what they were looking for, people who are outside the country who are trying to, use these LLCs or corporations in order to avoid to do money laundering, et cetera. So
once again, it's like the good people are going to be set back a little bit for the acts of the few.
Right.
So it's going to take a little bit longer.
Yep.
A little bit more expensive.
Yep. Once again.
Wow.
Once again, it's on the real estate industry, which we've seen over and over again that we keep getting targeted. And I'm trying to think. Think about it. How many? We all do a fair amount of transactions. I think most of the people I deal with, are pretty reputable.
Yeah.
I don't really know of many where they decided that this was something that is legitimate to go after, that this is part of, these residential purchases in LLCs are part of money laundering schemes. Yeah.
So if you have an LLC, do you have to what's the threshold of ownership to report to you now?
So if you own 25% or more, those people have to be reported. So if it's a minor interest, then or anything less than 25% won't have to be reported. Okay. So your information won't have to be provided, but there will at least be one person who's, let's say, the so-called manager or director of the LLC or the entity. That person will have to. There's going to be at least one person who has to get reported.
And are all title companies FINCEN authorized agents?
I don't know yet. So this is all new stuff for them. A lot of them haven't even talked about it. The major underwriters like First American are going to, what they're saying is, right now they came out and I brought to show you guys, this is the American Land Title forms that they're using now for their for the transferors for the buyers and the sellers, or the transferors and transferees, these forms that they're going to have to fill out for now. Eventually what they're saying is they're going to create portals so that they'll go in, if it's a flagged transaction that they suspect is going to be part of the FINCEN reporting requirement, they are going to send the clients the links to have to upload the information. Because if the title company who does the transaction doesn't report within 30 to 60 days, they're going to be subject to penalties.
Wow.
and
And
they're
it's
going to be substantial.
And it's reporting on, so if a buyer is buying your house,
Right.
cash through an LLC,
Yep.
the seller's information has to be reported as well as the buyer's information?
I believe so. Yeah, I believe so. I think everyone involved in the transaction is going to have to be part of that reporting.
Do the real estate, do they get down to the real estate agencies
Not
or
yet.
the brokerages?
No, not yet. Nope. And it may
Interesting.
not be. You know what? I may be wrong. It may not. The individuals who are as long as they're individuals, they won't have to be. They won't have to provide.
But if
the
if
reporting.
an LLC was buying from another
Correct.
LLC.
Yeah.
Wow, which I don't think I ever had. Have you?
Yeah. I mean, I've done commercial,
think
but
so.
not a lot of resident.
Not
You don't see a lot
residential.
of residential doing it.
I think beach
But-
houses.
Yeah, think about it. You have beach houses, and there could be. What if it's an LLC to a trust now, and even though it's a grant, so the trust, if let's say it's being sold from one individual. Okay, so here I thought about this one before. So it's like an individual owner selling to somebody in their revocable living trust. Okay, but it's not. They're not the same people. That trust is now that's going to have to be reported, even though it's just a normal revocable trust. Where it's just like the individuals, they use their social security numbers, they do everything like that. But because it's not the same, the grantor and the buyer and the seller are not the same so-called individuals who are involved. That's probably gonna have to be reported. So another thing to break news to our clients. Great. Like they're like, and they don't want to provide that information. Do you?
No.
I mean, no. I mean,
But you have to.
You're gonna have to.
Or you
and-
don't sell your house.
Or you won't be able to sell your house. Right. And these reporting, they're gonna have to hold the paperwork up for at least 5 years.
Wow.
That's kind of like when COVID happened and we started doing. New Jersey started allowing the notary where you could do
On the driveway.
well, the online notaring where it could be you didn't have to be in person any longer. Like so, we were allowed. They passed that so you didn't have to be in person. You could do it through through FaceTime or whatever
every rule
else.
was
We could
broken
finally
in.
do that. But they wanted us. We had to hold on to the recording for 10 years. So I'm like, you know what? I'm not taking on that responsibility. Would you want that responsibility? Bless you.
No.
I don't want that. So that's why I'm like, all right, you have to go. If you can't get here to get in front of me or get to another notary, then you have to hire. We'll set you up with an online notary service and let them be responsible, and you're gonna have to pay them.
Yeah.
So
You think sellers are going to be like, we only want to sell to people who are taking a mortgage. No cash buyers.
well, I mean, yeah, really. I mean, think
No
about
cash
it.
LLC buyers.
You know what? Basically, it's like suck it up. You know what? They're gonna have to just deal with it. But it's another thing we got to deal with.
And it's going to delay, like, if you get a transaction closed in 21 days, is it now going to be 28 days or?
I think as long as the people are cooperative and they provide the information, it shouldn't delay anything. It's just a matter of being willing to provide the information, and it's really just your driver's license, etc., your birth date, your social security number. So fun stuff.
Yeah.
But
Yay.
yay, yeah, lots of fun.
Yeah, you just have to wonder. I don't know. I feel like some other states or some other areas might be a little bit more targeted than Monmouth County.
I don't know. See The Sopranos?
Exactly.
Just trying
You
to
mean
be
blue states
positive.
versus red states?
Just trying to be positive.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know. It's definitely going to be a topic of conversation. So that's why we were so happy that you were willing to come on to
No,
help
it's my
educate
pleasure.
people, from your mouth, not ours. No, because you understand it so much more. You're researching it on
yeah.
a different level.
Yeah, I've been on
together.
one seminar so far. So but we're starting to see more and more of them. Like I first saw something mentioned about it over the summer. I'm like, okay, what's this? And then it started getting more more invitations for a few seminars. And one title company did one for a couple months ago. And then this other one sent me out for attorneys who they deal with a lot. They're like, listen, why don't you give us a call so that we can set up a time to talk one-on-one so we can give you an idea of what's going to be involved with this. So
Is FinCen like a agency that would send their agents into your office to audit it, or does that then go to like the FBI?
I think it's kind of like in the background. They like do the FinCEN does the collection of the data, but then they now do they have their investigators, kind of like Tom Hanks in that movie.
With Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yes.
It'll drive me nuts. It's a good movie.
Oh yeah. It was the money with the money launderer. He was printing money.
Yes.
And he was
Catch Me If You Can.
Catch Me If You Can.
Yeah.
Look at you.
My husband would be so
Look
proud.
at you. Wow.
Yeah.
Turning 61 is kind of hard to start
Zone in
losing.
on that
You start
stuff,
losing
right?
names fast. Keeps getting worse.
It does. And FinCEN stands for what again?
I'm going to get it right. So it's the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network.
Enforcement Network.
Right.
Financial crimes.
Right. So it's
Sounds heavy.
to fight money laundering and terrorism, they say. And this rule is called the residential real estate rule. So that's what's coming into effect.
Oh, God.
March 1.
Residential
thanks.
real estate rule.
Oh, you're welcome.
At least it's not that's a closing cost, but it's not that bad. I mean, it's bad.
No, I mean, yeah. So, I mean, the title companies will probably be tacking on extra time in those situations. Mm-hmm. So,
But
they
like
said
a couple of hundred or like a couple of thousand.
Couple hundred. No, they said, if they're anticipating 2.7 hours was the number I got for the additional reporting requirements. So then that they can tack on somewhere around $300.
Okay. That's really not that. They're paying in cash anyway. It's not that much of a game changer. I think they could find an extra $300.
Then why not? But it's like, it really surprised me that it impacts co-ops and so it's like really everything. But if it's more than 4 family, then you're not worried about it. So you have a client buying, apartment buildings and stuff like that. Same thing like with the 3.5 the graduate percentage fee that we talked about previously. That same thing doesn't apply to anything over, I think it's 4 units. So those are exempt.
But that's where you're going to launder all the money, right?
Exactly. I think. I don't know. What do I know?
Sorry,
I don't know. I'm like really curious who wears the data that says that these are the sort of transactions that are really being used for laundering money.
Yeah.
Because like we said, I don't see it. I see people stealing my cell phone number and stuff like that. But getting into your bank accounts and
I don't know how many
things
houses
like that,
are sold. With drug money. Yeah. I don't know. None of my clients.
Legit. We should have
we're too. Yeah, maybe we have to do like in different parts of the country. Maybe we're wrong. Maybe it is those like.
So we'll hang out on a street
I was just
corner
thinking
tonight.
They keep saying that people in the Chinese Communist Party are buying up real land and real estate in the Sun Belt. I wonder if it has something to do with that potentially. But
possibly, yeah.
Yeah.
Or Venezuela. Argentina.
Nope, don't have any.
Like they're buying Texas. I would think that's where. But Jersey, well.
But Monmouth County,
right now it's like too tough for anyone to
buy anything.
Exactly.
I know. So that'll be interesting. Multiple offers. We have an LLC with cash, or we just have cash in the buyer's names. Or we have a great mortgage from Loan Depot.
And this guy might not give you a social security number. So you
right. Yeah. How often are we saying we don't want a cash deal? We want to take the deal that, in an LLC that you can't go after them because they signed in their name of the LLC and they're not personally guaranteeing anything on the contract.
Yeah.
Because then you got to who's the members of the LLC? Half the time we don't know that when they sign a contract.
It's true.
So, I think we make everyone just. You got to do it in your individual name, and you want to transfer it afterwards.
That's what I've done in the past, with builders and stuff. They've done it in their individual name and then transferred it in attorney review.
Yep. Yeah, no, but if you do it, it has to be after. This would have to be after closing. Yeah,
no, but they've put it in the LLC, closed in the LLC for my these couple transactions.
Yeah. But no, well, and that was one of the things I actually ran it through AI because everything I looked through, I didn't know the answer. So I tried figuring out. Okay, so. We've had clients who buy in their name and they, and then they plan on renting it out or something like that. And they want to transfer it afterwards to an LLC or a trust, but they still have a mortgage on the property. Okay. Well, they got the money from a regular financial institution. So what AI tells me is it's questionable whether those have to be reported or not. But I think because we all know with mortgages, it says that if you do any sort of transfer, you have to notify the bank. Mm-hmm. But there are a lot of people just do the transfer because even their loan officers will tell them, just do the transfer afterwards. Don't worry about it. As long as you're paying your mortgage, they don't care. Okay, which I obviously don't. I don't tell clients that. I say, listen, if you're doing a transfer, you're supposed to get the bank. You need to contact the bank and get their consent.
Yeah.
But but people still do the transfers from themselves to an LLC, and they still have a mortgage on the property. Now the question is, would that have to be reported because they're still a mortgage on there, they're still financing on it, and so. I think it looks like it will have to be reported to FINCEN. And then, but the one thing that AI told me was that if the loan is assumed by the LLC, so that would mean that the LLC, the owner of the LLC, would have to contact the bank and get their approval.
Okay.
Which some people don't do.
Yeah, well, that would be the first step of doing something wrong.
Right, exactly.
Right? So if you're going to ignore the first step, God only knows what you're going to do down the road.
Right. So, here at least then now if you're doing it and now it's going to be reported to a federal agency, at least you can say, well, I reported what I had to report. I did the legitimate thing. The bank said, my loan officer told me they didn't want to hear about it. So, fine.
Yeah, but
don't call me. Don't call me.
Get that. Your loan
I'm not the right attorney for that.
In writing.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's what I've said. Yeah. Will they put it in writing? And they're like, no.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Interesting.
Well, wow. Thanks so much for coming on.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Super excited.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, you're
Thanks for
welcome.
having me.
FINCEN.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no. I think I'm done.